Hi, I'm Rose and welcome to the Rose at Home channel. I am so glad that you're here with me again to talk about summer books. So I have finished my last full day with students. I've got 3 days of exams and then graduation, and then I have the whole summer to do what teachers who love to read love summer for the most, and that is to just read great books. Now in the summer I tend to prefer stuff that's a little lighter. I will read some heavier fantasy and stuff like that thrown in, but when I think summer book, I think something lighter, something fun, something that happens during the summer. And so I picked a stack of books out of my physical TBR, all these bookshelves behind me, that I think will work for summer, and I thought I would share them with you in case you might be interested in them as well. So the first thing that I pulled off my shelves is One Italian Summer by Rebecca Serle or Rebecca Serle, I'm not entirely sure which. And obviously this is about summer in Italy, or at least that's where it takes place, so I thought that this would totally work for summer. It's also not very long, so it'll be a nice, hopefully easy breezy summer read. It's heavier than just simple light though. When her mother dies, Katie Silver is left reeling. Carol wasn't just her mom, she was Katie's best friend and her first phone call. Carol had all the answers. To make matters worse, the mother-daughter trip of a lifetime looms. 2 weeks in Positano, following the same route Carol did as a young woman. Katie has been waiting years for Carol to take her, and now suddenly she is faced with going on this adventure alone. But as soon as Katie steps foot on the Amalfi coast, things begin to change. She was buoyed by the stunning cliffsides, incredible food, and charming hotel staff. And then the impossible happens. Carol appears for real, in the flesh, healthy and suntanned, and 30 years old. Katie doesn't understand what is happening or how, but over the course of her time in Italy, Katie gets to know Carol in this new form, and soon she must reconcile the mother she loved with the young woman she is meeting for the first time. One Italian Summer is a transcendent novel about how we move on after great loss, and how the people we love never truly leave us. I'm hoping that it's not too heavy with grief. It's got a cover that makes me think that it's gonna be just a great read for summer and in the summer. I'll still get feels, but hopefully I'll be left feeling really good afterwards. The next thing I pulled is The Last Train to Key West by Chanel Cleeton. This is the author of Next Year in Havana and a whole group of books. I'll say I had Next Year in Havana. I'm not one who loans my books out very much, but I loaned it and it hasn't come back, but that's okay. I'll get a new copy. But that's the only Chanel Cleeton I've read, but I have a bunch of them. So this one seemed to have the most summer vibes. The picture on the front is absolutely stunning. In 1935, 3 women are forever changed when one of the most powerful hurricanes in history barrels toward the Florida Keys. For the tourists traveling on Henry Flagler's legendary overseas railroad, Labor Day weekend is an opportunity to forget the economic depression gripping the nation. But one person's paradise can be another's prison. And Key West native Helen Berner yearns to escape. After the Cuban Revolution of 1933 leaves Myrta Perez's family in a precarious position, she agrees to an arranged marriage with a notorious American. Following her wedding in Havana, Myrta arrives in the Keys on her honeymoon. While she can't deny the growing attraction to her new husband, his illicit business interests may threaten not only her relationship, but also her life. Elizabeth Preston's trip to Key West is a chance to save her once wealthy family from their troubles after the Wall Street crash. Her quest takes her to the camps occupied by veterans of the Great War and pairs her with an unlikely ally on a treacherous hunt of his own. Over the course of the holiday weekend, the women's path cross unexpectedly, and the danger swirling around them is matched only by the terrifying force of the deadly storm threatening the Keys. That just sounds awesome. That sounds like it's going to be a great adventure. Here in Florida, we deal with hurricanes all the time, so it's not going to be anything I don't kind of have reference to. I know how bad those storms can look and feel, so I'm really excited for this. This one is an absolutely for sure getting read this summer. The next is by a really popular romance, pair of romance authors, and I just haven't had a chance to read any yet, but I do have The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. And this is I think it's like an enemies to lovers. Let's see. Olive Torres is used to being the unlucky twin. From inexplicable mishaps to a recent layoff, her life seems to be almost comically jinxed. By contrast, her sister, Amy, is an eternal champion. She even managed to finance her entire wedding by winning a slew of contests. Unfortunately for Olive, the only thing worse than consuming bad luck is having to spend the wedding day with the best man and her nemesis, Ethan Thomas. Yes, I think enemies to lovers. Olive braces herself for wedding hell, determined to put on a brave face. But when the entire wedding party gets food poisoning, the only people who aren't effective are Olive and Ethan. Suddenly, there's a free honeymoon up for grabs, and Olive will be damned if Ethan gets to enjoy paradise solo. Agreeing to a temporary truce, the pair head for Maui. After all, 10 days of bliss are worth having to assume the role of loving newlyweds, right? But the weird thing is, Olive doesn't mind playing pretend. In fact, the more she pretends to be the luckiest woman alive, the more it feels like she might be. That just sounds so fun. I'm really excited. I think this is going to be so much fun this summer. The next is by an author that I have read before, and I really enjoyed it. Her works tend to be set here in Florida and in beachside towns and things like that. The last one I read was a mystery. This one I don't think is quite as mystery, but it's definitely beachy. Look at that cover. It is Mary Kay Andrews' High Tide Club. And now this one is a chunker. So this will be a nice time into a world. Her books, the one that I've read before, very easy to fall into, very easy to kind of escape into and kind of be in that world, very well drawn and kind of a fall into kind of book. And so I'm really hoping that for this one as well. Let's see, it is eccentric heiress Josephine Warwick is a notorious recluse, reigning over a crumbling pink mansion on a private island. She is rarely seen, but so often whispered about. Okay, life goals. So when Brooke Trapnell, a struggling young lawyer, is summoned to the island, she has no idea what's in store. As she listens to Josephine's recount a story of old friendship, dark secrets, and a mysterious murder, it becomes clear that Brooke is there for two reasons: to help protect Josephine's beloved island and to make amends with her old friends, the skinny-dipping, serious, secret-keeping girls of the High Tide Club. To fulfill a dying woman's last wish, Brooke must track down the debutantes of Josephine's closest friends and bring them together for a reunion of women who've never actually met. But in doing so, Brooke uncovers a scandal that could make someone rich beyond their wildest dreams or cause them to be in the crosshairs of a murder. The High Tide Club is Mary Kay Andrews at her very best, a compelling story steeped in mystery, fierce friendship, love lost, and possibly love found. Does that not sound amazing? This, I know I keep saying this, but this is for sure going to be one of my summer reads. All of these just make me want to get outside with a blanket and just like read the day away. The next pick is going to be a little bit different because I believe this is more of a mystery even than the Mary Kay Andrews was, and it is Silvia Moreno-Garcia's Untamed Shore. Silvia Moreno-Garcia is one of my absolute favorite authors. If you've read a different book from her and you're like, oh, I read that one, I didn't like it, doesn't matter. All of her books are so different. It's like she absolutely refuses to be pigeonholed into any type of formula or even any genre. She's completely all over the map, and so not liking one type of her books doesn't mean you won't like another. And so you might want, if this sounds good, you might want to still give it a try. So let me get to Baja California, 1979. Veridiana spends her days watching the dead sharks piled beside the seashore as the fishermen pull their nets. There's nothing else to do, nothing else to watch under the harsh sun. She's bored, terribly bored, yet her head is filled with dreams of Hollywood films, of romance, of a future beyond the drab town where her only option is to marry and have children. 3 wealthy American tourists arrive for the summer. Veridiana is magnetized. She immediately becomes entwined in the glamorous foreigners' lives. They offer excitement and perhaps an escape from the promise of a humdrum future. When one of them dies, Veridiana lies to protect her friends. Soon enough, someone's asking questions, and Veridiana has some of her own about the identity of her new acquaintances. Sharks may be dangerous, but there are worse predators nearby, ready to devour a naive young woman who is quickly being tangled in a web of deceit. Silvia Moreno-Garcia is one of the most exciting voices in contemporary fiction. With her first thriller, Untamed Shore, she crafts a blazing novel of suspense with an eerie seaside setting and a literary edge that proves her a master of the genre. So yes, so not like Love and all of that from the others, like this is going to be thriller, suspense, it's not super long, and so it seems like I'm going to be, I'm sorry for the tapping noise, it seems like I'm going to be on the edge of my seat and it's going to be very different. I like to change things up. I don't like to do 2 romances in a row or 2 anything in a row, so this will be a good change of pace, but still with totally the summer vibes. The next one I pulled off the shelf because it's been there for a while and I'm not sure how summery it's going to be, but the cover is very summery. It is Diane Chamberlain's Big Lies in a Small Town, and I believe this one is also going to be very kind of suspensey, mystery, maybe domestic kind of thing. Let's see. North Carolina, 2018. Morgan Christopher's life has been derailed when she takes the fall for a crime she did not commit. Her dream of a career in art is put on hold until a mysterious visitor makes her an offer that will get her released from prison immediately. Her assignment: restore an old post office mural in a sleepy southern town. Morgan knows nothing about art restoration, but desperate to be free, she accepts. What she finds under the layers of grime is a painting that tells the story of madness, violence, and a conspiracy of small-town secrets. North Carolina, 1940. Anna Dale, an artist from New Jersey, wins a national contest to paint a mural for the post office in Edenton, North Carolina. Alone in the world and in great need of work, she accepts. But what she doesn't expect is to find herself immersed in a town where prejudices run deep, where people are hiding secrets behind closed doors, and where the price of being different just might end in murder. What happened to Anna Dale? Are the clues hidden in the decrepit mural? Can Morgan overcome her own demons to discover what exists beneath the layers of lies? So yeah, that sounds very mystery, seems like it's dual timeline, seems like something to fall into. North Carolina does have a lot of coast, so I'm assuming that's where all this water is from. So I think this is going to be fun. It's going to be different than some of the others and be a good kind of change of pace, but still giving me that summer fall into a book vibes. And this list can't exist without our girl, Emily Henry. This is Happy Place. This is the newest Emily Henry. I adore Emily Henry. Like I said, I think I've said this before, I don't read a ton of romance. I'm trying to branch out and get more into it. We're going to talk about one that I read this month, at the end of the month when I do a wrap up. And if you might be interested in hearing about that, please go ahead and subscribe so that you can be sure to see when that video comes out in probably a week, week and a half. But anyway, this is Emily Henry's Happy Place. And look at that cover. Like, that's what I would love to be spending my summer doing. Harriet and Wynne have been the perfect couple since they met in college. They go together like salt and pepper, honey and tea, lobster and rolls, except now, for reasons they're not discussing, they don't. They broke up 5 months ago and still haven't told their best friends, which is how they find themselves sharing a bedroom at the main cottage that has been their friend group's yearly getaway for the last decade. Their entire respite from the world, where for one vibrant, blissful week they leave behind their daily lives, have copious amounts of cheese, wine, and seafood, and soak up the salty coastal air with the people who understand them most. Only this year, Harriet and Wynne are lying through their teeth while trying not to notice how desperately they still want each other. Because the cottage is for sale and this is the last week they'll all have together in this place. They can't stand to break their friends' hearts, so they'll play their parts. Harriet will be the driven surgical resident who never starts a fight, and Wynne will be the laid-back charmer who never lets the cracks show. It's a flawless plan, if you look at it from the great distance and through a pair of sunscreen-smeared sunglasses. After years being in love, how hard can it be to fake it for 1 week? In front of those who know you best. I think I've read this for you before, but absolutely positively this is happening this summer. I actually have a couple of other Emily Henry. I might only have one. I haven't read Book Lovers yet. So this one and Book Lovers are going to be on the list for me for summer. So I absolutely adore Emily Henry and I cannot wait to get to this. Totally going to do it this summer and I'm so very excited. So I hope that gave you a couple of ideas of things that I guess would be backlist books, except for the Emily Henry at this point. Things that you can find easily and inexpensively or can get quickly from your library and that might brighten up your summer. And I will be sure each month to give you a wrap up when I read them and tell you exactly what I thought. So if there's one of these that you really want to hear more about and you're hoping that I read it first so I can give you my review, please put a comment down below and let me know which book you would pick. And in the meantime, I hope you're having a wonderful end of the school year and beginning of summer. And I hope that you have time to read some really great books. Bye.